How's it going, everyone? Undisputed Fight Media here. I'm Ringside Joe, and today I want to talk about a fighter that I don't think has been getting a lot of attention and who I think has all the makings of becoming a real superstar. And that fighter is Junto Nakatani. Now, Junto Nakatani is the WBO Super Flyweight Champion of the world. He won that title, I believe, let me see, did he win that one? Yeah, he won that title in his last fight against Andrew Maloney on the Devin Haney versus Lomachenko undercard. A fight that I was actually in attendance for, and I'll be completely honest with you guys, I thought Junto Nakatani stole the show with his performance. Like, Haney and Lomachenko was a really, really good fight, but I think Junto Nakatani had the performance of the night. He dominated Maloney from start to finish and landed an emphatic punch in the closing seconds of the 12th round to win by knockout. And when I heard that punch land, I'll tell you what, the whole arena went silent for a second. When that punch landed, it sounded like a gunshot went off in that arena. Insane power from Junto Nakatani. But let's get into a little bit about him, see what he has on the horizon, and then see where he goes. So, for those who don't know, Junto Nakatani is actually a two-weight champion. He's contended in the flyweight division prior to moving up to the super flyweight division. And yeah, the reason being, he wasn't really getting many of the big fights that there were at flyweight at the time. So naturally, it felt right to move up a weight class, try something new, and try to get some of the bigger names. I mean, more of the bigger names in and around that division are at super flyweight. So I think it was a good part on Nakatani. But overall, let me break down what type of fighter that I think Junto Nakatani is. So, Junto Nakatani, BoxRec here have him listed at 5'7" with a 67-inch reach. Now, for the weight class that he's in, that is a pretty big size difference. When he was against Andrew Maloney, he made him look really, really tiny. And Maloney's not the biggest flyweight in the world, but I'd say he's a good, decent-sized flyweight. Like, that's a good-sized super flyweight is what Andrew Maloney is. And Junto Nakatani dwarfed him and made him look tiny. He's tall, he's long, he's got a great jab, he knows how to have good distance control. His punch selection is very good, and I think the thing that makes Junto Nakatani such a killer is his back left hand. Now, I've watched a couple of his fights, such as the Andrew Maloney one. I went back and rewatched this fight he had with Yamaguchi, that was on the Golovkin Murata undercard. And I even went back and watched this fight he had in Tucson, Arizona against Angel Acosta. And yeah, the biggest takeaways I had from that fight was how powerful his back left hand is. And he does it in he throws that shot in many different ways. Sometimes he'll throw it looping, sometimes he'll spam it as an uppercut. He's good at throwing it straight. It's just his back left hand is a very good power punch. And he sets it up really well by fighting behind his nice long right jab, because he is a southpaw. His good hand is his left hand, so he leads with his right. And he is very good at keeping his distance, getting out of the way of shots, controlling distance, being able to lure opponents. And yeah, no, he's just a very smart and calculated fighter. Defensively, he's not a defensive wizard or anything, but I think that's one of the reasons that makes this guy so exciting, is that he is willing to get hit. But when he does get hit, he's not afraid. Like, he can fight in close if he has to. He's not afraid to get on the inside and throw uppercuts, throw some stuff to the body. He's a very versatile fighter, and I think Japan have a real talent on their hands with Junto Nakatani. Right now, currently, the biggest star in Japan is Naoya Inoue, who just defeated Stephen Fulton not too long ago. But Inoue is already in his 30s, I want to believe. Junto Nakatani is 25 years old. He's coming into his prime, and I think this guy can get a lot better. And I think this guy can be a serious threat for the contenders in his weight class or for the contenders above his weight class. So let's kind of get into that. So Junto Nakatani's actually got a fight scheduled. When is it? Let's see here. September 18th of this month. So it's coming up in a couple weeks. He's fighting Argy Cortez. Can't say I'm the most familiar with Argy Cortez. We can go have a look at his record and everything. So he's had some good fights. Argy Cortez fought Juan Francisco Estrada, who is arguably the number one fighter in the division, depending on who you ask, but he's beaten Chocolatito and other notable names in the division, so rightfully so. Estrada is the number one fighter in that division. But aside from that, Haven't seen, and nothing too crazy that stands out on Cortez's record. So I don't want to disrespect Cortez, but provided Junto Nakatani is able to come through this fight, I think there's tons and tons of good fights on the horizon with the people in his weight class. Looking at the Ring Magazine's top 10, let's see what we got here. You have Juan Francisco Estrada. Now, Estrada is getting up there in age, but he still arguably is the number one fighter in that division, and I would love to see a unification between him and Nakatani. Could Nakatani's youth overcome Juan Francisco Estrada's skill and age? At this rate, I don't know. I would put that fight as a 50-50, but I would definitely give Nakatani a real good chance to go in there and beat Estrada. At number 1, you have, which I think this might be a good fight in Japan, you have Kazuto Ioka. Now, Kazuto Ioka is a very good fighter. He's been around for a while. I unfortunately haven't had the privilege of watching all of his fights, but Ioka is a very talented fighter. He's moved up in weight. He's gone through multiple weight divisions. He's won fights he's not supposed to win. He just beat, I believe, Joshua Franco in his last fight, and I believe Joshua Franco was the one who beat Maloney's brother. Was it Jason Maloney? I want to say it was Jason Maloney. Or no. I could be wrong. Let's look at this. No. Andrew Maloney. Okay, so Ioka actually beat Joshua Franco, who had lost to, who had beaten Andrew Maloney at the time. But I think the way that Junto Nakatani dispatched of Maloney was a lot more impressive than Franco, and that's who Ioka just beat right now. So I think a big money fight in Japan with Ioka and Nakatani would do tremendous business. I think it would really get Japanese fans hyped. I think it would be a good way to crown who is deserving of taking over this division. And yeah, Ioka would be a good fight too. Ioka is a little bit up there in age as well, and I think Nakatani's youth, like I mentioned with Estrada, could definitely give the older fighters some trouble. Looking at number 2, I should say, in the Ring Magazine ratings, you have Roman Gonzalez. Now, Roman Gonzalez, arguably one of the most decorated fighters of the last decade or so, former pound-for-pound number 1 fighter, multiple weight world champion. He's only fought the best fighters that have been in and around his division. Only the best fighters. Roman Gonzalez is a true warrior, and he's fought everyone in his era, and he has my utmost respect. But I think Nakatani at this stage in his career could be a little bit too much for Gonzalez. I would love to see the fight. I think it has all the makings of a war if that fight is to get signed over the line between these two. But Chocolatito's been there, done that before. He still has something in him, but I just think Nakatani's youth, his hunger, his punching power, I think that could present a lot of problems for Roman Gonzalez. And really, just looking at the rest of these guys, I wish I could say I'm more familiar with most of them. That's definitely my fault. I'll have to go and watch more of them. Haven't seen too much of the IBF champion, Fernando Martinez. Named Franco, Tanaka, don't know him enough. So Rung Visai's already kind of seen better days, so we won't count him. But one more fighter who I think matchmakers, hear me out here. Look at this fight on the horizon and maybe see what we could have down the line. I think a great fight for Junto Nakatani, a fight I would love to see more than anything right now, would be if he fought in the man at the division below him, and that is Jesse Bam Rodriguez. I would love to see Jesse Bam Rodriguez move back up to super flyweight in order to take on Junto Nakatani. Jesse Bam Rodriguez has all the makings of a real good fighter. Just like I said for Junto Nakatani. He's skilled, he's fast, very technical, hits pretty hard, even at the weight above and everything. And I think those two arguably could put on one of the best fights of the year. I really do mean that. Both these guys are highly skilled. Both these guys are young, hungry, both want to achieve more in their careers, and I think a dream fight would be those two together. Jesse Bam Rodriguez is in the weight division below, so he still has to come back up, rack up some names, and do some stuff in order to get the fight. Or not even really. I just think he just needs to fight the guys in his division right now, hopefully move up when Junto's still there, and yeah, those two would make for a spectacular fight. I really would love to see it, but those are the main people I would like to see Nakatani fight in his next couple fights. He's got to get through this fight he has in a few weeks against Cortez, as I mentioned, but like I said, I think he'll get through that. I think he'll get through that fight, and yeah, I really want to see him against all the names I just listed off. Great fighter in Junto Nakatani. He really, really has all the potential to be a superstar in Japan in his own right. He doesn't have to follow in the footsteps of Inoue. I think he could become a good fighter in his own right. And he's already fought a couple times in America, so he's getting that Western exposure that I think he really, really needs in his career. So I say, hell, have him fight a couple more fights in Japan, maybe do the Yoyoka fight in Japan, bring him back stateside. Let's get this Estrada fight going. Let's get this Roman Gonzalez fight going. Fight the other champion in his division. Hell, the future is looking very bright for Junto Nakatani, and I'm excited to see where he can go from here. If you haven't seen his last fight, check it out on YouTube or check out the highlights. Arguably KO of the year, in my opinion. I don't know. I don't think I've seen anything that tops it right now. And just I want you to see how good I think this guy is, and you'll be able to tell. So yeah, Junto Nakatani, someone to look out for in the super flyweight division and a potential superstar on the rise for Japan. Like and subscribe, guys. This is Undisputed Fight Media. I'm Ringside Joe here, and thanks for listening to me. You guys, peace out.